Let me introduce you all to my 104-inch 235:1 custom-made projection screen. Now, the budget for this screen was undeterminate at the time of its conception, and now that it is completely incepted and installed and working, it came out to about $750, which was more than I was willing to spend, but I think for what it can do and does, it is pretty phenomenal. The big question I get from everyone is like, well, why don't you just get a roll-down electric? And the reason I didn't get a roll-down electric is I haven't seen a roll-down electric I like. The actual material, the weaves really bother me. And this is a spandex material, actually ivory. It's not white. It is a slightly pinkish material, and it's backed up with black, with Milskin matte black. And it's completely transparent audio. At some point I had the samples and I just literally threw them over the speakers doubled up and just listened to music all day, and I couldn't tell a difference. There was maybe a 2% reduction in the very, very, very highs that I was completely okay with. So, why didn't I get the electric? Well, to get a good electric costs a bunch, and to get a 235:1 electric is nearly impossible. I also wanted to get this cool effect of having an absolutely borderless screen going. And if this was a real custom installation, those weren't sticking up over the top, it would have just been a panel floating in the middle of space. Space. And you would have seen nothing. Now, the projector I'm using is a 8350 EPSON, and that's a 16:9 projector. So it is actually projecting up here right now. You just can't see it because Media Player Classic is outputting black. This whole area here is getting projected on in black. I'm throwing away those pixels. I'd rather have that shape and those colors than, if I could have made this a 16:9 easily. I could still do it. It would have just been taller. And my opinion on the matter, because it's come up, was, 235:1, okay, movie looks fine. But then you put on Game of Thrones, you put on House of Cards, you put on anything TV or any other movie. There are quite a number of movies I have that are just not full widescreen. They're not scope. And I don't want to punish my movies by giving them black bars top and bottom and then let TV shows fill the entire screen. That seems backwards to me. And really, if you ever watch a TV show, or you ever look at how a TV show is presented, everything is huge and tall. I'd actually rather have that slightly smaller than this. So that's what happens. When I 16:9 program comes on, I use Media Player Classic to shrink it down, and it leaves about 1 foot of black border on the left and right. And that's fine with me. I don't mind punishing TV shows to allow Wally to be just amazing looking. Edge of Tomorrow on this, Evangelion 333 just looks insane. Right? That edge to edge has always been like, this is the same aspect as this monitor. And I remember when I got this months ago, I went, oh my god, I want to build a projector that is that shape. Because watching a movie and having it touch edge to edge, something about it. So yeah, $750. How much of that was how much of what? The actual aluminum frame, because I'm using an extruded Misumi aluminum here, with the brackets and the nuts, was about $270. And then the hardware to mount everything I got from McMaster-Carr, and then there was many trips to Lowe's for the wall mounting hardware. Those 1x6 strips there are mounted to the wall. This is a rental, by the way, which usually you wouldn't do this to a rental, but I'm out of my mind. And there are 20 lag bolts, 10 per board, 2, 2, 2, 2, and then bottom 2, so that I guarantee that it doesn't yank out of the wall. I'd have to pull 20 lags out of the wall, and it's not happening. If I would have just tried to mount those hinges, those heavy-duty hinges into the wall, there's a good chance that the torque being applied to this right now would have just yanked it out. So special screws, special everything. If we're done looking at this, which I don't ever want to be done looking at this, by the way, I will raise the screen up on the linear actuators, which again is part of the reason this was $750, not like $500, because I tried really hard to use pneumatic lifts just to have it sort of float, and then I would have had a system where I pushed it up and it would have locked to the ceiling. I would have had a system where I pushed it down and it would have locked to the bottom. And that would have been much faster than the linear actuators. But, well, look at the reds on that. But I played with several. I played with the 60s, 60 a piece, and those brought it up to about here. And then I put 180s on, 180-pound lifts a piece. They put it to the ceiling. And then pulling it down was a matter of like, oh my God, how much stress do I really want to put on that whole system on the wall? Because you're pushing down 360 pounds of, the screen only weighs about 70 pounds. All the aluminum was too thick. It's a big deal. It's a big, heavy thing. But that was just too much. And then I ordered some 120s, and those worked. Those hovered about here, which would have made it easy to push it up. And I was able to push it down. But the strength to hold it down was still like a 200-pound hit you in the face if you fuck up sort of thing. So I ended up going with linear actuators, which were about $70 a piece for the 16-inch. And that's not bad, $70 a piece. And then you get the controller. That's $35. And then, oh, by the way, these brackets, they're sold separately. They're $14 for a pair, and you need 2 pair. And so things added up, and things added up. And the Milskin, this stuff was for 3 yards, $30, roughly $30, and I have it in both ivory and black. Around here where I've attached the screen, this is just vinyl tubing, and this was pretty cheap. It was, I think, $25 for enough to go around, and then in the back, around again. We'll talk about that when I get it up. In fact, let's get it up. Here is the switch I've got, and it's just the linear actuators are run off the control box, which is locked in the leg of my tower here. And this is a momentary up and toggle down switch, because when you go to put it up, it doesn't quite want to stop at the ceiling. Going down, it will, if I go down, I can do no hands and it'll just stop. And that's it. Because the actual internal stops in the linear actuators activate and it just stops. But going up, the weight of the screen sort of bounces it off the stops, and that's not a good thing. Explosions and tearing, because I'm mirroring this TV. This is about a 40-second lift. You could actually time it on YouTube if you like. I haven't actually done it with the weight of the screen. I did it with no weight on it. Loo. I got some apples. And there's a 50-inch Kobe television back there if you want to compare and contrast. And we're almost at the top. And that's it. So, let me put the lights on now so you can see what the actual... Here's the wood mounted to the wall. Here's a block that actually came... This was the blocks of wood at the end when I got rid of the aluminum. So I screwed these in to allow me to get the angles past this hinge, because the hinge sticks out quite a bit. So I wasn't intending to paint these, and I may still do something with them, because they're just wood at this point, and they're the only things that stand out as like, hey, are you ever going to fix that? The reason that the lift supports are here with the linear actuators is because the linear actuators would push up to this height, and then slowly it would fall, oh so slowly, till about here. And then if I jiggled it, no matter what was happening, the linear actuators would just start unwinding down. So they're cheap linear actuators, and they're very good. They just didn't have the strength to hold this sort of cantilevered load. So these 60-pound a piece assistants really just keep everything in line. Here's the big hinge, brackets to hold the hinge. There's a nut in there for some reason. I'll have to get that out. Not on both sides, of course not. And everything here, this is eight massive screws through the deck mates, through the wood and the wall. There's no wood in the wall. There's no chance of getting to anything to stick to that wall really, really well. So this was the only solution I had. And when it's up like this, it is out of the way. I really would have liked to have it super close to the top, but the way the hinges had to be lined up, I had to bring them down slightly to avoid where I actually anchored these, because I couldn't do the math in my head enough to figure that out, or it would be about up another like 3 inches. But yeah, I mean, this is perfect for what I've intended and how I drew it out. This can come apart in probably an hour and be transported to any other place and assembled, and it would act just as well. And with the space behind it, since it is so far off the wall, since it's like 20 inches, I can, if I ever wanted to get something like this, it would have to obviously be pushed in the way of the television. But any center channel fits here, because this is where the screen ends, right around here. It just comes over this cabinet. And yeah, the back is pretty neat. The way I did the vinyl hose, I did the sides, was the actual tensioning on the screen, and then I put the secondary hose in the back and then just cut straight against where that hose ended it. And I could probably get a piece of the felt tape or something and really pretty it up if I felt like it, but I don't care. It looks great. Looks great. I love the black on the back of it. I may put a couple LED strips here to like light. I might put something here, you know, big logo, Zeos Home Theater logo. But yeah, I mean, it's out of the way. It's not missing. It's still an elephant in the room, but I had been building this for about 2 months, and it was just sitting around and down and up and held up to the ceiling with ladders. So the way it is now is like a dream. And I could just click it down, and it goes down fast at first and then slows greatly because of the geometry changing. At night, it obviously, the contrast really kicks up because there's no sun out. But even with the you know, evening, it's 5:30 in the afternoon, and anywhere from noon onwards, it's usable. This is a usable amount of picture you're looking at. And it's going to auto stop. And then I'm going to flip off the switch. I don't have to. I just feel like it. And yeah, I'll put on something that's 16 by 9. What's that go to shows? Always Sunny season 7. I am in Philadelphia, so now let's see. So there's 16 by 9 content. You see the top of it is obviously overshooting the screen, and the bottoms are there. But I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And then you're now watching it perfectly there. Now here are the black bars that punish the television. Because really, Always Sunny doesn't need to be that high. I want Edge of Tomorrow and Rush and Saving Private Ryan. Which is Saving Private Ryan 2, 3, 5 to 1? It might not be. Sons of bitches. I want it to be this wide. So I don't mind punishing TV a little bit, and it looks fantastic. The colors, the black levels, you could even see now with the light that the black levels are pretty damn good, especially compared to white. I have the white fabric somewhere in here. Where is it? Here's my sample of the ivory, here's a sample of gray, and here's my white. So this is a full 3 yards. And if I were to just toss it up as a comparison, please excuse the rushedness of that. Yeah, it really took away a lot from the, like you could see here, projectors can't throw black. They can only be as black as the screen is black. So that's as black as it can be there on ivory, and that's as black as it can be here on white. And I just thought it came out so much nicer. I'm a bit of a warm tone freak. I have a couple CRTs waiting in the wings to come back here. And just, it's so much nicer on the ivory. So much nicer on the ivory. I mean, look, either one will work, and I may even give this away if you could handle the wrinkles, because it did come to me folded, and I haven't exactly kept it nice and neat. But yeah, I stand by my choice for the ivory. Just because in dark scenes, like, yeah, you could see there's slightly more detail in the black, but it's not a natural amount. Let's try that. Let's try that and get out of Always Sunny. Movies. 47 Ronin. Reset. Let's jump ahead. Yeah. So you could see, I mean, the whites are just whiter, but I've done the math on it. I've done the back and forth and half the screen, more half the screen, and I couldn't deal with the amount. I want better blacks. The whites will happen. I wanted better blacks. And the only way to get better blacks is a slightly darker screen material. Keeping in mind now, the projector is calibrated for the ivory and not for the white. So it may be throwing it off a little bit too. Asshole. That's what he just said. I'm sure if I never had the ivory, I would have been happy with white. And if I never had the white, I'd be happy with ivory. Yeah, there, right there. That's what I'm talking about. This is a completely dark scene, dark room. And you can just see that's white, and that's trying to not be white. And the gray was too dark. The gray would require a 3,000 lumen screen. But yeah, I'm very satisfied with my choice of ivory over black. I mean, even if you went, because people are saying white over silver, and going over silver, putting silver behind the white would have made it even brighter. And I couldn't even have seen that happening. Yeah, I'm okay with sacrificing some brightness to gain, contrast. So it really worked out well for me. Yes. Good movie, 47 Ronin. Needed to make more money. Looks fantastic. Sounds fantastic. Works fantastic. I'll include a full parts list. Although, I mean, I guess this could work for anyone's situation. All you need to do is have a wall and know how big you want your screen. I could have gone with a bigger frame, except my only problem was I put these track lights up, and if I put it, let's say I wanted a 10-foot wide instead of 8-foot wide. This is 8 feet wide. This is exactly how big I did. So I ordered 8-foot pieces, and they end there, and I just filled in the gap. And if I would have gone with 10-foot wide, it would have been an extra foot out, which means the speaker probably wouldn't have had to move much, a little bit, but it wouldn't have been able to go up against the ceiling because of the track lights. And frankly, a 10-foot wide screen in this apartment might be pushing it. This room is got 8'8" ceilings, so it's got really tall ceilings. This is 17.5 feet wide, and it's about 15 feet to this wall. So I think it's just the right size to say I'm crazy. And if I ever moved, well, I could always make it bigger. So yeah, that's it, and I enjoy it. All right, here we are at night. It's actually after midnight. I've got some of the LED mood lighting on, just to keep the room from being totally dark. And actually the lights around the TV are still on, and you could see the overshoot. I have a fast on image viewer up, and I've got to sort of manually position this so it shows full screen. And just that. Those colors, and those colors, and those colors. Just the epicness that is a 21 by 9, 235 to 1 screen. What can I get? Colors. Colors and contrast and lightness. You can see there's no light bleed through. And you can't see that when you're sitting down. Using programs on this is a little bit of a pain, but everything else. It's my calibration image, you could see where the blacks go to black. If I zoom out, no. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the best projection screen I've ever seen. And I say that with no ego, like Hattori Hanzo would say it. Just the sharpness of that. The only thing I will say is that it's very, very light, but they might be a horizontal banding from the actual fabric manufacture process that I can make out. That is exactly as perfect as I remember that being on my CRT. Deer. Just everything is perfect. The dark bits are as dark as they need to be. The bright bits are way bright. Colors are accurate. Look at that. I will put a link to a gallery with all these images. Oh. Red? Red Dead Revolver? That's red. Amazing. Here's a dark image where there's, definitely shadows. That's perfect. It's another one of those images that isn't quite... It's projecting the perfect amount of light and dark. It looks black. Over there, that area just looks black. Actually, I've had this image forever. I've had this particular image forever, and it's beautifully detailed. I forgot how big the actual image is. I've never noticed this dude here till it was on this screen, because he's like hand size. Yeah, there's a dude with a gun down there. No idea about that. This really shows off the projector more than the screen almost. These 8350s and 8345s are just masterful. Look at that. That's art. Get over it. Just the depth of color. My God. For some reason, still images, super crystal clear, high resolution images. Just best video. Yes. And this is actually one of my favorite pictures for determining skin tone, because I've seen this picture on every single display I've ever had. It's been on my phone, my laptop, my tablet, all three of my CRTs numerous times. This projector on different screens. My brother's television. There's a piece of lint on here. And it won't come off. There, I got it. I guess that's one of the only real downsides to using fabric instead of a screen material, is some things do stick. Finding the right balance of white, like here along the nose, keeping the contrast so you could see the nose, and then the rouge going into red. Yeah. You want a darker image than that? Somewhere in Italy. More dragons, more dragons. Just so impressive. I'm just so impressed. Here, that's pure white. I think I've checked this. It's 255 white. There's no hint of that being an off-white. Not a hint of it. It's precisely as white as it needs to be. And then those dark, oh my God, the depth of it. It looks so good. And that's orange, which is a really hard color to represent. Not many things can do it. Come on, mouse, stop sucking. I just want to go over the slideshow on camera. I know that's what I was doing. Colors. Here. Look how dark that image is. It's pretty much nothing here. I could see a bit of what looks like supposed to be clouds. They're just so faint. It looks perfect. There's no other word for it. There's no other word for it. That looks exactly as perfect as it should. And we're back to the start. And because I keep saying it over and over and over again, I have the background set to black, by the way. As we keep saying it over and over and over again, I'm going to jump to, well, the best movie ever to test a screen. If I could find it. Edge of Tomorrow. Fear and Loathing. That's a good movie too. Oh God, lower that. Yeah, no audio, because that's what really gets it pulled. I need to shift it down. As you can see, it's too high. I could just sit here and watch this all night. We'll do a jump. Perfect. Tomatoes. Best you ever had. 5-minute skips? I think so. Oh God, the cinematic. The cinematics. Oh God, it's so good. Tom Cruise has really pulled his career out of the dumps. I don't give a shit if he's a Scientologist or a Satanologist. I want to watch all his movies. That is so big. Should I get closer? Can you people handle closer? Oh God. Let's get to some real action. 2-minute skip. The one thing you got to note about projectors is, well, about displays in general. Movies just look different. You could put on this movie, you could put on V for Vendetta, then The Matrix. They're all going to have different skin tone. So getting it right, you got to be consistent. You got to use one movie, or you got to use a still image. I've seen this movie enough times on enough devices to know that this is a slightly washed out, not pastel, but when you watch it, it's not 100% accurate skin tone. It's sort of got a haze effect over it too. Only in certain scenes does it go away. Huh? Little pixelation breakup from the jump. Oh God, I love this movie. At the back of my boot heels, maggot. Alright, so there's my baby. There's Tom Cruise on my baby. Build one today.